Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. It seems that you've caught me playing with Diceself.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time zone it is, wherever you in the world. It is your Lord and Saviour with episode 5 of season 2 of the Playing With Diceself podcast, where this sad British goth boy plays TTRPGs by himself. The TTRPG in question is Wraith the Oblivion 20th Anniversary Edition, using my own homebrew rules, The Hopeful Damned, a homebrew of 2 parts. The first part is your traditional sort of sourcebook with a bunch of 6 adventures that you can run with your group of friends or strangers online, and the other part is a bunch of solo rules and background generation shenanigans so you can play Wraith the Oblivion by yourself, regardless of edition. First, second, the Great War, or 20th Anniversary Edition. And again, we are using 20th Anniversary Edition because that is the focus of the homebrew, but you don't have to use 20th Anniversary Edition to fully capitalise off this homebrew. And in the previous session, a lot of fucking dark shit happened. Where do we begin? It started off by us killing a Victorian lady that I dubbed Lady Airborne so we can learn a bit of puppetry from a puppeteer guild, Wraith. In doing so, we learned a bit of more of Molliate with our new fawn, Pact of Doom, and we gained quite a lot of angst of ripping off this this woman's face. We then returned back to the guild Wraith and gained more angst, really focusing on our darkness of these emotions, whatever. We then returned to the Feta, that is the memorial bench, and we then discovered that our foster mother was having a bit of hanky-panky, and the desperate housewife that intercepted all of this because she had set a trap for our foster mother unveiled that they knew all this dark shit that our foster mother had been up to, and just kind of admitting that what we had been feeling for some time is that foster mummykins did not love Taylor very much. And with an extended use of puppetry, which additional dots were learnt through Pact of Doom, the second time during that session, we were able to streamline our foster mother and cause us to kill ourselves in a rather over-the-top and bloody manner. Now, in doing so, we have sent ourselves into a self-targeted harrowing, where we are now going to go through a very interesting scenario to see how well we can survive the scenario as we come to terms with losing our passion. And this is a very peculiar circumstance because it is not often that one succumbs to a passion by the destruction of their own passions or fetters, assuming that's not a complete choice of the Wraith in question, because you may remember Taylor wanted to punish their mother for all the controlling shenanigans they had gone through their latter teen years, not kill them. So that's succumbing to a darker passion of them. So whilst it is not a targeted harrowing, because it usually involves sacrificing yourself and throwing yourself into a hill, so to speak, this is a targeted harrowing because the shadow, technically speaking, has been goading us for the last scene and a bit to kill our mother. So this is really a targeted harrowing. So this harrowing is going to focus on the particular passion in question, which is, as a reminder, punish foster mother for being a controlling bitch. Hatred. Now, I have no idea how this is going to pan out. We may die, we may succeed, or we may get swallowed by the yummy maws of Oblivion, because you may recall, we have now 9 permanent angst, 9 out of 10, and we are just 2 temporary dots away from that being ticked over into 10, and if that becomes 10, it's game over for Taylor. But I do have an opening scene idea for this harrowing, is that we're sucked into this nihil, and to begin with, we are surrounded in an inky black darkness. An inky black darkness of our own creation, so to speak. Although, if you want to get all technical about it, we've been pulled into the Labyrinth, and our shadow is now going to be putting on a play of some description, and the other actors are going to be played by Spectres. So we're in this dark pit and a spotlight appears where we stand. And Taylor is just sort of looking around, untoo sure what to expect sort of thing. Just increasingly pissed off, frustrated, just, let me out of here! For fuck's sake! What's going on? A light opens up a few meters in front of her, producing a skateboard. Taylor has a little look around. Does she see anything? Well, first of all, is there anything else for her to see? So I'm just going to grab 2d10 to use a binary roll. Now, in often usual circumstances, I would involve the Oblivion die here to see if the shadow's having any input here. But for this particular circumstance, and I might do this a lot through this Harrowing, I won't be including the Oblivion die of a lot of it because the shadow is very much in control here. First d10, this sort of sparkly green colour. And the next d10 is this most hideous orange and green die. We're going to have the green one as the positive die and the orange one as the negative die. At this moment in time, I think it would be more in Taylor's favour to not have anything else here, just her and the skateboard. And, that's not a good start. So we have rolled a 1 on the positive die and a 2 on the negative die. And what else is here? Now, just because there may be something here, Taylor may not be able to see it, but we'll get onto that in a moment. So we're going to use the scene generation tables to see if we can flesh out this Harrowing a bit more. What else is with us in this inky blackness? Again, I'm going to use the greeny die as the 10s, the orange one as the units. 77. Mistrust. Very fitting. And 79. The wealthy. Mistrust the wealthy. Okay, I know what this is. So we stumble onto this skateboard and we just like stomp on it as it flips up and we catch it. And as we catch it, the sinister voice of our mother just booms all around us. This voice being led by the shadow.
Taylor Z, put that down.
Taylor's a little startled to hear the mutated voice of her mother. She just looks around.
Now!
She just shakes her head. Taylor throws the skateboard on the ground, hops on it, and woof, she's off and away. And I think at that point, things begin to change a little more as they become more chaotic. And I'm going to use the scene generation table to see what else happens. 16 is overindulge. And 52, overindulge dispute. I'm not getting anything with dispute. If I make that 25, what does that now become? Equal. Okay, I think as Taylor's like sort of skating along on this skateboard and this inky blackness opens up in a more familiar environment, like a massive interpretation of the house that she is in, where she is a tiny little ant in a sort of a great big skate park that is the house sort of thing. Taylor's just going to shout out, "You won't fucking control me anymore. I fucking had it with you. It's because of you that I'm dead."
No, Taylor, it's because of you that you are dead. If you didn't listen to us and indulge in this fucking woke nonsense, you would be alive, and so would your father, my husband, who raised glorious, wonderful, successful kids, and then brought you into the fucking world. God, we should have fucking ended you sooner.
And at this point, I think there's going to be other spectres that are going to represent twisted mutations of these older siblings, just sort of like shambling across all different angles. And I think we're going to use this as an opportunity to roll on our skateboarding skill. Yes, I was going to fucking handfist my skateboarding skill in here somehow. So what would this be? Dexterity in skateboarding. Difficulty 6. 6 dice. Wonderful stuff. Now, as we are in a Harrowing, we cannot call upon the shadow dice, and quite frankly, I don't think we'd want to. Right. Oh, that's a great start. 6 successes. Yeah, so these shambling hordes are sort of piling up in and around Taylor. Just sort of, in a more cartoonish way, just like growing from the ground and just falling over her, but she has got this completely under control, like skating left and right. Maybe with that number of successes, she's able to like shove and do a bit of tricks in between, like some kick flips and grinding and ollies and other skateboarding things that I know absolutely nothing about beyond those 3 basic things that I would have picked up playing the Tony Hawk skateboarding games as a child.
Stop this right now, you insolent little shit!
fuck you, and just skating along, going in and out, weaving, jumping about, and I'm going to roll those 6 dice again, as I imagine now that the family probably had like a dog, and this dog is going to look more twisted and horrific, now running towards them, this great big open mouth. Let us see if we can get out of the way. Same difficulty, and not so good with that one. 1, 2 successes. Yeah, that's not great. And I think as this thing just sort of springs up all of a sudden, she's not really able to get out of the way in time. Probably like snaps at her. She sort of wobbles a little bit and falls and tumbles over in place. The skateboard goes scooting off somewhere. She turns. The dog is going to come running, snapping with this very over-the-top snapping jaw sort of thing. The dog, as she looks at it a bit more, is sort of wearing like this sort of police dog sort of Kevlar vest sort of thing, and I imagine it being a horrific nightmare, as it were. It's probably wearing like a police cap and a whole jacket sort of thing as well, just sort of like sewn and pushed into its head sort of thing, bulging eyes, teeth malformed all over the place, these great big chomping maws at it. So I'm going to probably roll some stats with this big old fucking dog. I think it would make more sense that its size and whatnot, it's going to be either slightly stronger or much stronger. I'm going to use a D10 to determine that. I'm going to say evens is much stronger, odds is slightly stronger. That's a 6, so that is much stronger. And I'm going to lean on the stronger side of things and say that's going to be an example pool of 8. So, Taylor is now going to run as quickly as she fucking can to grab that skateboard. This sign of her rebellious youth or whatnot, from a 90s teenage perspective, of course. So let us roll Dex and Athletics, which is again another 6 dice. Oh, shit in my mouth. So there's 2 1s and 2 successes. So no successes, that's just a complete fucking fail. But there is a chance that Doggy McDogface can fail as well. And of course it didn't. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. So yeah, I think that it sort of runs up. We sort of don't quite reach it. It bounds at us at a really fast pace. And of course, it's not trying to kill us at this point because we're supposed to learn a lesson of some description, depending on how badly we fail, whatever. The dog clamps its jaws around us, and again we're in this dank, horrible smelling, dank darkness. And Taylor is obviously going to do what she can to try and get out of this. Now, we entered the harrowing with everything that we have on our person. So that would be our relic rucksack and the chains. Now, I imagine there's like this sort of like video game sort of like warm darkness to it. So it's not completely pitch black. Like she could probably just make out a little bit of this sort of the innards of this dog sort of thing. Because you remember, wraiths do have a heightened sense that we rarely capitalise in these games. So I think she's going to, like, as the dog is bounding around and the voices are laughing and cackling at her, like calling her names and being derogatory, she's going to slip off her bag and she's going to pull out those chains a bit by bit, and she's going to swing it around and she's going to fling it at the dog's, I don't know, what could it be? Well, somewhere in the dog, it doesn't really matter, and she's in a fucking dog's mouth, which is a weird sentence to roll off the tongue. So we're going to do an dexterity and melee. Oh, and something I forgot to do in the recap. I gave myself 3 experience points and I had enough to spend on another dot of melee, so 2 has now become 3. It's very useful, actually, and I had that because she's now has a bit more experience with some chain. So 6 die, and I think we'll have to roll for damage, but it'd be very fucking difficult for us to miss. But I'm gonna say, because it's big and whatnot, and we've also ascertained in the previous session that chain can fucking fly really high up in the air, being magical and all that. I'm going to give this a difficulty of 4. Let's see, what is that? 6 die. And what did we get? We got 3 successes. 2 9s and a 7. So, we only needed the 1, which is fantastic. Oh wait, I said it was difficulty 4, so what was that? Yes, 4 successes. Okay, so we take those 3 die. And I said in the previous thing it was strength plus 3? Yes, because it was, yes, strength plus 3, that's what I'm rolling as the damage with these chains. Now, I don't actually have any pathos, so I can't employ the effects that I decided for it. The limiting of Argos, which is not irrelevant for this dog thing, and I'm not trying to bound it up and tie up either, so I can't use that for it to make a willpower either. This is purely as like a damage to try and let us go. So strength plus 3, so we've got 3 dice there, strength is 2, Plus 3 is 5. 8 dice. Let's see the damage that we can inflict on this dog. Okay. Oh, fucking hell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. And that one takes away another one. So, yes, 6 successes. So that would be a very nice bit of damage. And I think that's actually quite enough of damage for this dog to howl in pain, like, as it sort of opens its jaw, and probably with a flick of the tongue as it sort of wails around in fear, like sort of spits us back out with him, chain and all. These bodies sort of beginning to pile off around us, and I think we're going to have to start fighting them off as they sort of begin to shamble forward. I'm going to roll, make this as an example, as an extended roll, so we can use these chains just to whip and slash and things away as we carve a path back to the skateboard. What would be a suitable number of successes for it, I wonder? I'm actually going to use a d20 to decide that, because I think anything more than 20 successes would be a bit silly. It could be a really hard thing, or it could be a really easy thing. So I'm actually going to use the Fallout d20, which is the first d20 that I saw. 14 successes. That's my lucky number, so it's off to a great start. Now, how am I going to work this? Well, if we fail on this particular roll, or any of these rolls, we're going to take a bit of damage from these claws, or whatever, from these shambling horde spectres, as we're overwhelmed with these mindless zombies of the conservative way, as it were. If we botch, then things are going to get real fucking spicy. But we're going to keep working on it until we get to 14 1-4 successes. So, athletics, dex and melee. So that's 6 dice once more. This isn't going to be contested, this is just a straight extended roll to show our progress and whatnot, fighting out of this controlling situation. Okay, what did we get there? 5 successes, so off to a great start. I'm going to make a tally of this, otherwise I'm going to fucking forget. So we begin to crack away at this horrible mess of bodies that represent our foster brothers and sisters, just slashing and taking them out, breaking limbs. She's screaming, she's snarling. Those are sort of barking horrible insults. And Mother booming from atop.
Why must you resist? Why can't you be a fucking normal child, you fucking freak?
We're going to roll again. 4 successes so far. 10 more to go. Oh, that's another fucking great roll. 4 successes. I nearly counted 5. That takes us to 8 successes. I am normal. You just need to open your mind, you old dated bitch. Alright, another great roll. Wow, really motivating yourself for all this. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. That takes us to 12, if I can do basic math correctly. 12 successes. We actually need 2 more with the same level of progress. So we're doing pretty well here. Let's just hope that we don't botch it now. Okay, that's not as good. We got a 1 that takes away a success, but we did get 3 successes, which takes us to 17. And there's that extra bit of effort. These bodies sort of become really close and tight towards us, and I imagine in a real over-the-top way, Taylor grabs the chain at one end and just fucking helicopters the fucking thing round her head, just taking off heads as she's go bam, 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 plasm and blood and all the rest of it just splatters all over the place.
What are you doing? Your own brothers and sisters.
And there, right in front of her, where she fucked up, is the skateboard. She's going to hop back on the skateboard and just scoot away as the dog, who has probably recovered itself, and the massed horde behind her are going to continue to chase after her. So we're going to use another 6 die for our skateboarding talent. So our skill is 3, and dexterity is also 3. Okay, so that's quite a lot of successes here. There's a 1 that has to take that away. So it leaves us with 4 successes. I think with that number of successes, because it's above average, we are able to get away from the whole horde of it. But here's the final boss. The foster mother rises from the bloody stump in the kitchen as Taylor does more tricks and skating up kitchenware and like a broom that's conveniently left on a fucking table, just defying the laws of gravity and physics and whatnot, just skating up. She's just along the table as bodies and sisters and electrocuted sisters just sort of drop down from the ceiling, and her rising up from the ground is the foster mother with a knife just twisted right in the heart.
You killed your mother and your father. What a fucking disgrace that you are.
Pulls out the knife, and a deluge of blood and shit just spews right over the table, and I'm going to make another skateboarding related roll. I'm going to make this difficulty 7 because there's a lot of shit going on here. I'm actually going to spend a point of willpower just to guarantee that I get some successes, because we're sort of reaching what I am dubbing the climatic moment of this very over-the-top controlling hammering. Ooh, that's a lot of successes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fucking hell, 6 successes just. And with the willpower, that is 7 successes. And I imagine, you know, I'm imagining Taylor that she didn't really have time to put the fucking chain back in the bag. And so she's got the bag on her shoulder, she's got this chain like spinning around, and this shit just sort of flows onto the table. It just knocks and sweeps cutlery and other kitchenware aside, and she is just spinning this helicopter thing, parting the plasm that is her fucking mother's innards. Like Moses, but more metal, as she, like, with the knife in her hand, is going to come down and strike them. Again, it's difficulty 7, because it's a big fucking thing. Okay, so that's not as good that time, but actually, no, that's pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. So I imagine that with the blade, as it comes down with a great big Herculean smack, it stabs into the table, and Taylor is able to use her skateboarding skills just to ride up the blade, as it were, riding up the arm. The skateboard sort of not going as fast because it's not a smooth surface, going up cloth and skin and all the rest of it. And in real massive, dramatic style, she's going to do the most epic of ollies and just volley off of it. And with the chain just swing it around, I'm going to hook it and hoping to collide with the mother. So I'm now going to make another... Actually, there's technically 2 things going on here. There is the ollie, and then there is the hitting. So I'm actually going to be this fair about this and do this I forget the term the book calls it, but I'm basically splitting the pool in half, as they're both the same, dex and melee, and dex and skateboarding. What would be the more important thing here? Well, the most important thing is to make sure that ollie doesn't go fucking pear-shaped. So with the 3 dice, I'm going to prioritise the 2 to make sure that she doesn't scuff it, and that just leaves the 1 just to make sure that it connects. So that is 2 successes there. So she is able to get off it. Obviously, such a high elevated state. Like, it's a bit fucking wobbly. I just need a 6, and I'm going to hit it. Yes, got a 7. And she just swings like, you ruined my life. You're not going to ruin me anymore. Let go of the blade. It just sort of vortexes, crashes into her face, and a very dramatic no. The face explodes into a billion shards, and everything turns to white. There's a symbolism of destroying her controlling mother. However, just because we've done all of that doesn't necessarily mean that we have beaten the Harrowing. Because remember, we're sort of acting in favour of the dark passion, as this is the destruction of our passion. So this is going to cause some very interesting results, I think. So, when it comes to an end, which I'm dubbing that this has, we're going to roll permanent willpower, difficulty 9, and we need a single success is enough to grant victory to get the Wraith out intact. I'm not going to say that we're amazing role-playing, because I'm an amazing role-player. Thank you very much. So our permanent willpower is 7. We just need a single success. We just need 1 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 3 9s. 999. What a fucking emergency that is. This is quite admittedly a peculiar scenario, as we succeeded in the Harrowing, but the Harrowing was caused by the destruction of a passion who is very much fucking dead. And I don't think we can punish foster mother for being a controlling bitch if she's dead. So what I'm going to do is treat this as if we had failed, so to speak. I'll deal with the reward portion in a moment. But what we will do is that I'll roll against a rating of a different passion, and then difficulty 5. A fail on this roll subtracts 1 dot from rating of the second passion. Now, it doesn't make us different if it's like the second highest or the highest, because some of the failure states do recommend this. But I think we're going to do the one that's a bit more connected to the mother here, which is the 4-dot to prevent Courtney from falling in love with somebody else. We've also had a bit of turmoil with this as well, because you may remember, if upon gaining that extra dot of Merliate, we were tasked to tell the first Legionnaire that we saw about killing Lady Airborne, and to gain the other dots in puppetry, we had to go and confront Courtney to let us know how much they have hurt us with their foolish behaviour. So, difficulty 5, 4 dice, because that's the level of the passion. And yeah, so that's all successes. So 7, 9, and 8, and an 8. So that passion does not get any lower. And I think that's it, because we didn't really defend that passion at all. And I don't think it would be worth raising the point of the other one by much. I don't know, I'm sort of making shit up here. I've probably gone about this all wrong, but fuck it, it makes for interesting roleplay. So, we have come out of Harrowing, and we now sort of teleport to the closest feta. And that's going to be one of two things, I think. It's going to be the therapy diary or our skateboard. The one that was in our Harrowing. But obviously the real world equivalent. And I'm just going to roll a d10 to decide this. Even is going to be the diary. Odd is going to be the skateboard. It's a 6. So, therapy diary. And I imagine that the foster mother has left the bedroom as it is, just to keep up appearances that she's still mourning, doesn't want to touch the bedroom and leave it as it is, sort of thing. And I should probably roll on a dice to determine how long I've been out of action for. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a d4, I'm going to grab a d20, not the Fallout one, as I've already used that one, just to spice things up a little bit, I think. I'm going to go for piss yellow d20, and I'm going to find a different colour d4, just to choose the number of hours that we have been out of it, because there's no real determined answer here. And we've got this sort of like lip gloss pink d4. Just add the numbers together and see what happens. 4 and 13, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 hours, which sort of takes us nearly into the next day. So enough time has properly passed for this to have become a crime scene, like maybe some flashing lights just peer through the curtains or whatever, or open, depending on how Taylor would have left them. I think she just left the curtains closed. Teenager, not liking the sunlight at all. But I don't think she goes to explore the rest of the house just yet. She just has a look at the open diary. I imagine, given what we decided, she was just going to go and meet up with Courtney, just saying that she just felt good, excited to see Courtney. Maybe some stuff that happened at school that made her feel angry, or an argument. Just very, at the time, not very serious things. You know, just some semblance of a normal life, and just all sort of being thrown away because of a accident. Their emotions got the better of them.
Now do you believe me when I tell you that we are one of the same? I am thou and thou art I. You've often thought that you wanted them dead, and you thought it so much, you birthed me. Does that mean I have to start to call you Mummy?
Fuck off. Just fuck off. And that's when she probably just storms out of the room and like just sort of plods along downstairs, looking around at the environment, how alien it all feels. Like the upstairs would probably feel super clean, surgically clean, you could say. Makes sense with a doctor in the house. But they're bits of police tape, and there's little yellow fold-out signs with numbers on them. There's bits of evidence of signs of a fight or whatever, etc. and so forth. And of course, it's leading to the kitchen where it all went wrong. A little chalk outline of the mother who died, some stained blood that's just remaining there for evidence. Obviously, the knife that was used to kill mother isn't going to be there. And I think I'm going to use some scene generation rolls to try and work out a bit more about what we can see here. I'm not doing a random scene just yet, because I think that's just narratively inappropriate, which you are more than happy to do within your games. You don't have to stick to the rules as written. I mean, that's always the case of every TTRPG, but if you feel that it's going to disrupt gameplay, don't do it. And I think now at this point I should probably, having just put the bag back, pull out a separate D10 for the Oblivion die and see if we can get that back in action, so to speak. Here. We use the Kraken die, D10, to symbolise the Oblivion die. So let's roll on the scene generation. 42 gives us barter. And 63, barter power. Barter power. That's a very interesting thing to find at a fucking crime scene. I'm seeing this as sort of like, you got news reporters and whatnot talking about a second murder of the mother just going fucking cray-cray. And you have like a load of news teams and whatnot taking pictures of snaps and everything, and you've got different reporters trying to interview like the police people and whatnot, trying to get a scene and whatnot, all begging, gagging for attention. And I think the sisters here as well, like talking to people, sort of what a great loss it is, etc. and so forth. That's how I'm interpreting that one, so it could make sense within the scene. But I don't think that Taylor is really going to bother with that. I think she's just going to fuck off and just leave him to it and head to where she would feel most safe, which is presently her haunt, which is the back of Courtney's car. But as they're doing so, I think this is an appropriate time as any to roll on a memoriam, to roll memoriam, as the family name has come to spotlight once more. As our memoriam rating is 1, we have to roll an 8 or higher to see if we can get a point of Pathos back, which would be rather nice. Got a 9, which is nice. So that is a singular point of Pathos. I'd also like to see, I think there's some degree of fear here. With the news report, it's like a second killing in a short number of time. This time was the mother's suicide, like a fear generated by the press. So it's kind of a high difficulty rating for that one, 8. 4 dots with fear, difficulty 8. Let's see if we can get some more Pathos back. We get 2 successes, which is alright. And I think at this point, if we're going to generate a random scene to see if anything is going to pop up and see if it's interfering with our little journey. I kind of hope not. So this will be quite difficult, actually. It's temporary angst is 8, so I think it's quite likely that something's going to appear now. It's more than certain. 6, half of that's 3. Temporary angst is 8, so yeah, a random thing's going to occur. So what's going to happen here? 7. Something negative happens to the PC. The player character. As if something negative hasn't happened enough already. So we're going to roll on the scene generation tables with the Oblivion die to see what the fuck's going to happen. We have a 21, which is release. And 36, legalities. Release legalities. Or legalities, or however that word's pronounced. Released legal shit. You know what? This to me sounds like it's an onslaught of legionnaires. That we had been followed back to this house. Or maybe, I think it would make more sense that we have broken the codes of Charon one time too many. These legionnaires are still keeping an eye on us. And it's gotten word round that the mother's dead. Passion. We have done this. And as I'm sitting here doing all this as like post-Harrowing, I think it's come across that I, myself, the player, have felt a little solemn. Deflated. And I am a little bit. I think this is a moment that we call bleed. Feeling really bad for Taylor and the rest of it. All this accelerating into darkness sort of thing. And sure, it's all been my decision. I've done some very interesting homebrew roleplay choices. In my mind's eye, find it very difficult to think of a good reason as to why Taylor is going to carry on. Because if they go back to Taylor, they're sort of forced into this scenario of telling Courtney the hurt that they felt, even though they know it was the person and they heard the argument, just how Courtney was sort of forced into this situation one way or another. She's met a bunch of legionnaires and she's forced into a situation where she's going to tell them about killing Lady Air. So I think what's going to happen is that she's going to throw herself to oblivion. Because it's possible for a Wraith to inflict themselves on a hand. It's like a last-ditch effort to get away sort of thing. With everything that's going on, and she can feel that this darkness is taking over, and she's really fucked up. And no matter what she's going to do, she's going to die. I think this is how it ends. I think this is how she succumbs to oblivion. And these legionnaires make an effort to stop her, and she's just sort of physically and or metaphorically falls back into nothingness. And the last thing that she hears before that she's torn apart and made whole again.
Welcome home, my child.
And I think that's a rather grim, perhaps lackluster way of ending Season 2 of the Playing With Diceself podcast, where we have sat here and we have played Wraith the Oblivion 20th Anniversary Edition using my own homebrew rules, The Hopeful Damned, where you can play really sad games like this one, using any edition of Wraith the Oblivion that you want, whether it's first, second, Great War, or 20th Anniversary Edition. But if you want to use it as a more traditional tool for generating chronicles, which I have demonstrated before in my How to Run Wraith the Oblivion video, it's going to be the best 2 hours of your life. You can go and check that out. But it also contains 6 one-shot adventures, so you can grab your friends and play Wraith the Oblivion for free. Yes, this homebrew is available for you to download from the Storyteller's Vault for free, but if you want to throw some money my way, I'd really appreciate that, because this has been a year-long project in the making, and I'd really appreciate any and all financial support that you can throw at me. But really, the best thing that you can do is get hold of this homebrew and play Wraith the Oblivion. It is by far, in my totally biased opinion, the best game that World of Darkness has ever created, and it's going to probably be the best game that they will ever create, especially with the direction that things are going in right now. So yeah, go and grab yourself a copy of The Hopeful Damned off the Storyteller's Vault, and have fun with Wraith the Oblivion, whether you're doing it by yourself, you're playing the adventures with friends, you're using the solo adventure to do some solo play, but you can also adapt it to include in a traditional tabletop session. So really there's 7 adventures if you want to stretch it out like that, or you want to use the various background generation and scene generation tools to use it to create a chronicle, because I have shown you how to do that. So it's fairly straightforward to do. So what has once been seen as the most unapproachable of the World of Darkness games is still unapproachable because it's made to the Ascension. No, jokes aside, you can play Wraith the Oblivion now. I've given you the tools for you for free. I have hoped you enjoyed this very interesting second season of the Playing With Diceself podcast. It's been a long time in the making, literally because it's been a good 2 years since I've done this. And it's also been a year's worth of work, blood, sweat and tears to generate these wonderful tools for you, and this homebrew, and also the music that's gone with this as well. It's all been original music for you to listen to as well, and you'll be able to purchase and listen to and stream those beautiful tunes at some point in the near future as well. But if you have enjoyed this solo Wraith shenanigans, stay tuned, because you're going to be getting quite a bit more of that, because my partner and I are actually going to be doing some duo play, where we're both going to be playing Wraith the Oblivion by ourselves, where both of us are going to be playing it, and both of us are going to be the storyteller. We're going to be using the Hopeful Damned as a tool to act as our storyteller, as we act as the storyteller for each other, and use the tools in here to generate characters and a whole chronicle. And we have no idea what's going to happen with that. We don't know the characters that we're going to make, and who knows, it may well be a lot more morbid than what I have presented to you in this season. It probably will be more morbid, because together we are a depressive, chaotic duo, and I am so excited to show you this duo play of Wraith the Oblivion. It'll be the first time with any World of Darkness property where people have gone online on YouTube to create a game where neither of them is the game player, the games master, and or the player. They're both the player, and they're both generating a thing on the fly with some random tables. It's going to be so much fun, I'm sure, and I can't wait to generate all that chaotic morbidity, and hopefully you lot will enjoy it as well. So do let me know how your solo Wraith the Oblivion shenanigans come along, as well as other games of Wraith the Oblivion that you're going to play. I really hope that you've enjoyed this season, and I will see you next time, whatever the upload may well be for you. Until next time, farewell.